Namaste and welcome. The talk today is titled, How Many Arms? What on earth does that mean? Well, about halfway through the talk, you'll figure it out where it came from. But before I begin, I offer my obeisances to my spiritual master, Jagat Guru Siddha Swarupananda, to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and to Sri Krishna. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namane Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adwaita and Gadadhar Shri Vasudev Gaur Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Krishna Jai Shri Prabhupada. So some people say that Lord Krishna is an avatar. He's an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And what they are saying is that Lord Vishnu is the origin of all, the cause of all causes. However, Krishna is not an avatar. He is the source of everything spiritual and material. So that's going to be the subject of today's talk. If you will have noticed in Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's writings in his books, he takes the time and the effort many times to write the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And I must admit, for the first couple of years when I was reading his books, I would skim over that part, fast forward, and I'd come to part, oh, Krishna. And then one day I was reading, I thought, hey, wait a minute. Why is he doing this? And really when you go into that wording, the supreme, well, that means there's nobody above him. Personality, that Krishna has full form, full personality there, of Godhead, meaning he is the head, he is above, he is the origin of all the planetary portions, the demigods, everybody. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead really succinctly describes the positioning of Krishna. Krishna is not an avatar. Nobody created Krishna. And so there it always was. It was always written there by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So what I want to do now is really look at three reflections. 1, 2, 3. Get the fingers right. 3 reflections on this subject that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because there are actually many people on this planet who misunderstand, who do not know who Krishna is, and they take him as being less than who he is. So we're going to look at 3 reflections because it is our duty to defend Krishna's reputation and really break apart this misunderstanding that pervades a lot of people in this world. So the first reflection that we're going to look at is when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was in Benares, Sanatana Goswami arrived there. And he had come there to be with Lord Chaitanya. And so sitting on the banks of the Ganges, Lord Chaitanya began teaching this whole wonderful philosophy to Sanatana Goswami. And as we know, Lord Chaitanya taught Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and he was really asking them to compile all these wonderful scriptures that we literally have in our hands today. So here he is now, Lord Chaitanya is beginning to instruct Sanatana Goswami. And this great, call it a conversation, this great education is there in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya in chapter 5. So we're going to just briefly look at what Lord Chaitanya was teaching Sanatana Goswami. Lord Chaitanya informed Sanatana that Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, so we know exactly who he's talking about now, don't we? That Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, is the absolute supreme truth, the cause of all causes and the origin of all emanations and incarnations. So bam, there it is. Lord Chaitanya is explaining Krishna's position there, and there's nothing grey. There's no little grey shades in there, are there? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave evidence, scriptural evidence, to Sanatana Goswami. So this is not just Lord Chaitanya making something up. He gave scriptural evidence that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, full in all 6 opulences. His abode, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is the highest planet in the spiritual sky. So he's setting the tone. And I always find this fascinating in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and that Lord Chaitanya would often quote from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Here he is, Lord Chaitanya, he's Krishna, but he's setting this mood of authority that one can double check with what he's saying. So Lord Chaitanya quoted a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam 1:3:28. All the incarnations described previously are either direct expansions of Krishna or indirectly expansions of the expansions of Krishna. But Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. He appears on earth in this universe or other universes when there is a disturbance created by the demons who are always trying to disrupt the administration of the demigods. After many scriptural references, Lord Chaitanya then cited a story. And so we're going to get some storytelling now by Lord Chaitanya. So he's going to tell this story to Sanatana Goswami. And it's the story which you all know, but it's good to see it in this light of this class that we're having. He told the story of when Lord Brahma, who's the Lord of this universe, came to see Krishna at Dwarka. So there we are. Lord Brahma comes to visit this planet. And there's Krishna in Dwarka city. So he's coming to visit him. Okay. When Brahma, the first created being in the universe, approached Krishna, the doorman informed Krishna that Brahma had arrived to see him. Upon hearing this, Krishna inquired as to which Brahma had come. And the doorman returned to Brahma and asked, Krishna has asked, which Brahma are you? Brahma was struck with wonder. Why did Krishna ask such a question? Brahma informed the doorman, please tell him that the Brahma who is the father of the 4 Kumaras and who has 4 heads has come to see him. So Brahma's thinking this is quite, he's Lord Brahma of this universe. He's very elevated. The doorman informed Krishna and then asked Brahma to come inside. So he's come inside the palace there in Dwarka. Brahma offered his obeisances unto the lotus feet of Krishna, and after Krishna had received him with all honour, So wonderful is Krishna, yeah. The Lord asked him why he has come. I shall tell you of my purpose in coming here, Lord Brahma replied. But first, I ask you to kindly remove a doubt that I have. Your doorman told me that you asked which Brahma had come to see you. May I inquire if there are other Brahmas besides me? Upon hearing this, Krishna smiled and at once called for many Brahmas. The four-headed Brahma then saw many other Brahmas coming to see Krishna and offer their respects. Some of them had 10 heads, some had 20, some had 100 heads, and some even had 1,000,000 heads. Indeed, the four-headed Brahma could not even count the Brahmas who had come to offer their obeisances to Krishna. Krishna then called many demigods from the various universes, and they all came to offer their respects to the Lord. Upon seeing this wonderful exhibition by Krishna, the four-headed Brahma became very nervous and began to think that he was just like a mosquito in the midst of many elephants. A wonderful analogy, isn't it? Since so many demigods were offering obeisances unto the lotus feet of Krishna, Brahma concluded that no one can measure Krishna's unlimited potency. All the helmets of the various demigods and Brahmas shone brightly in the assembly. And when the helmets struck one another, as the demigods offered obeisances, the helmets seemed to make a great sound of prayer. So all the helmets knocking against each other, it wasn't a terrible sound. It actually sounded like a sound of prayer to Krishna. Dear Lord, the demigods said, it is your great mercy upon us that you have called us to see you. Is there any particular order? If so, we will carry it out at once. There is nothing especially required of you, Lord Krishna replied. I only wanted to see you all together at one time. I offer my blessings to you, and don't be afraid of the demons. They replied, by your mercy, everything is all right. There are no disturbances at present, for by appearing on the earth, you have vanquished everything inauspicious. After this incident, Krishna wished all the Brahmas farewell, and after offering respects to him, they returned to their respective universes, not even planets, universes. Upon seeing this, the four-headed Brahma at once fell down at the feet of Krishna and said, what I thought about you before was all nonsense. People may say they know you perfectly, but as far as I am concerned, I cannot begin to conceive how great you are. You are beyond my understanding. Krishna then informed him, this particular universe, so this particular universe that we've all taken birth in this lifetime, is only 4,000 million miles across, only. But there are many millions and billions of universes which are far, far greater than this one. Some of these are many trillions of miles across, and all these universes require strong Brahmas with many more than 4 heads. Krishna further informed Brahma, this material creation, so he's just explained millions and billions of miles and universes, but then he goes on to say, this material creation is only 1/4 of my creative potency. 3/4 is in the spiritual world. So there we have Lord Brahma receiving this lesson from Krishna. And Lord Brahma, who's really understands everything about the makings of this universe we're living in, and even he could not understand the greatness of Krishna. So let alone people who are making this speculation. Oh, he's just like a demigod. Oh, Krishna, he was just a charismatic person. Or Krishna, he's just an avatar. He's not the original person. Such small brains. They cannot understand because they're not listening to a higher authority. So here Lord Chaitanya is explaining this to Sanatana Goswami. So let's look at the second reflection now. And we're going to examine a statement that some scholars purport that Lord Vishnu is the source of all, and their reason is, are you ready? Their reason is that Lord Vishnu has 4 arms and Krishna only has 2 arms. That's it. They're scholars. And I know that there's kids out there who are born into the devotee's family. They'll think, gee, that's silly. You even look at all the different, the demigods and demigoddesses. There's goddess Durga. You may have read about her in the story of Jada Bharat. Goddess Durga has 10 arms. So I think that kind of defeats their logic straight away, doesn't it? Lord Vishnu has 4, therefore he's greater than Krishna who has 2. Where does that put Goddess Durga? So let's look now, and obviously now you can see that's where the title for this class came, How Many Arms? But what came to my mind with this statement by these scholars was straight away you go to the Bhagavad Gita. Now, first of all, nowhere in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna say that he is a plenary portion of Lord Vishnu. Nowhere in there does he say that, declare it. But have a look at chapter 11 called the Universal Form. That chapter is really kind of mind-blowing. And in it, Krishna displays to Arjuna his universal form. So if anybody's thinking, oh, what is the position of Krishna? Is he the supreme? He displays this form that is very rarely ever seen. But he displays it there on this great battle of Kurukshetra. So nobody can go, oh, he was just the chariot driver. So in this form that he immediately manifests, he had thousands of arms, thousands of heads as well, but thousands of arms. So that silly statement by some scholars that because Lord Vishnu has 4 arms, he precedes Krishna. Krishna's only got 2. Here's this universal form manifested by Krishna with thousands of arms. So this is a wonderful chapter when you're looking at it from that viewpoint. And there are 55 verses in chapter 11. So I just chose 9 of those verses as a sort of a summary of the whole chapter, and a summary that's just reinforcing Krishna's position. So I'm going to read you out those 9 verses. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited, that's how he described, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, like that really signifies you're really like kind of freaked out, hair standing on end. Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. So he knew he was praying to Krishna, but Krishna in this universal form. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit." So not just the forearms of Lord Vishnu, without limit. "I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, can never be counted, and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance." Arjuna said, "You are the original personality of Godhead." There's Arjuna using that same phrasing Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada would use. "The oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable." Arjuna stated, "After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe." So he's asking, please just show me your form, your original form as Krishna. Krishna replied, "You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire." When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, "O Janardana, seeing this human-like form," this two-armed form, "so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature." So that's a wonderful description in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is displaying beyond, beyond, beyond 4 arms, isn't he? Now for the third reflection, our last reflection, I would now like to go to some hymns that our great, 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 great grandfather, spiritual master, composed, the hymns of Brahma. So our wonderful spiritual master, Lord Brahma, we all have read or heard these hymns, haven't we? Actually, there were 100 chapters, and it's only the 5th chapter that is now revealed on this planet. And Lord Chaitanya, when he was traveling down in all the southern places in India, he went to a particular temple there, and the Brahmins there had a library, not with books as we know them, they were palm leaf books, but they brought out and gave to him this 5th chapter of Lord Brahma's hymns, What a wonderful gift to give to Lord Chaitanya. And Lord Chaitanya very much appreciated, so he took the book with him when he continued traveling. And when he went back to Jagannath Puri, he had some of his, two of his disciples make copies, because they have to hand do it, yeah, so this wasn't getting lost, because the other 99 chapters, we do not know where they are. But the very first hymn that Lord Brahma writes, and he continues this theme in this 5th chapter, but the very first hymn begins, Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. There's those words again. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin. He did not come from Lord Vishnu. He has no other origin. And he is the prime cause of all causes. So the subsequent hymns in chapter 5, so all the other hymns in chapter 5, they determine the different aspects of the Absolute. So this wonderful writings from our great-great-great-grandfather spiritual master. So actually there are countless, innumerable verses from the authorized scripture that clearly state that Krishna is the cause of all causes, that he is the origin of all, that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. But if anybody ever questions, if you're around some people and they're questioning, oh, well, Krishna, but isn't Krishna just like, isn't he just a demigod, or, you know, or isn't he just a, you know, a really popular personality? You know, things like that, they'll say. You'll be easily able to begin a conversation with them and of these three, at the very least, reflections that are pointing out and describing from an authorized points of view who Krishna is. So we looked at an easy to remember story of Lord Brahma visiting Krishna in Dwarka. We looked at the overview for chapter 11 in the Bhagavad Gita. And we looked at just one, the first one of the hymns of Lord Brahma describing Krishna as the prime cause of all causes. So all glories to Sri Krishna, all glories to all the wonderful Vaishnavas who accurately and very pleasingly describe Sri Krishna. Namaste.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.